You know, people actually told me I was being ridiculous when I said I was preparing for the zombie apocalypse. Ha! Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. This is Ukadowski. We are Change.org. A lot of utter lunacy and ridiculousness happening all over the world, especially when it comes to the delusions portrayed by the U.S. mainstream media and the larger criminal class that was caught yet once again lying to the American public as we have new bombshell documents coming out implicating Dr. Fauci in an extraordinary way, which of course we will be talking about in this video. But before we do, the video that we played in the beginning of this broadcast is by Kim Gary, who randomly uploaded these kind of videos. We'll link the full video. It is 44 minutes long. Yep, you heard me correct. 44 minutes long, highlighting the utter devastation of one of America's biggest city that has been under Democratic rule for over 70 years. In related government officials creating rules that are leading to havoc, we have the latest developments from Rutgers University that just announced that they are banning students who didn't take the establishment procedure, not just from attending their university in person, but also preventing them from being in virtual classes. Yes, Rutgers University is literally punishing students and preventing them from doing online classes because they didn't want to take a medical procedure, which is absolutely ridiculous. Is the college afraid he's going to get a computer virus? I mean, this is just absolutely ridiculous and highlights how a lot of these policies are not about health and safety, but are about control. This is why a lot of people have been protesting a lot of these obscure, almost totally made up, nonsensical, tyrannical policies that don't benefit anyone except for the ruling class. We saw a major protest in Turin, Italy recently. Absolutely huge demonstrations in Paris, France, and yet we're hearing very little about them. I mean, just look at the mass amount of people in the streets in France. It's absolutely awe-stunning, to say the least. In other unrelated international news, China is also doing more war games, preparing for the invasion of Taiwan, as they just sent 19 nuclear bombers and fighter jets into Taiwan's airspace for their latest show of force. Today, also, Ecuador officially became the first country in the world to recognize Bitcoin as legal tender and implement it in its economy. Yes, right now in El Salvador, you could go to McDonald's, KFC, Walmart, whatever your corporate overlord you love the most, including other businesses, and you could universally use cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin as a form of payment, even in hotel rooms, restaurants, whatever it may be, as people are already sending in their photo proof of using Bitcoin as a way to transact almost everywhere in El Salvador. And this is huge, major, big news that will, of course, have major implications. I might personally investigate this myself. Stay tuned for more of that later. And in other online internet news that is a little bit more depressing, we're also finding out today that Proton Mail has just revealed the identity of a climate activist to French authorities, as their email services that promises secure, encrypted private messaging doesn't seem that private, encrypted, or secured when they're handing over information to the authorities about climate activists. Now, before we continue, because the internet is becoming more of a hostile space towards any kind of freedom, privacy, and actual security, we launched Uncensored.com, our own video platform, where we get to say and do whatever we want. We do it a lot. We have a lot of exclusive videos ready for you, even going back 10 years ago. We're categorizing and organizing it right now as we're speaking, but in today's video, we are going to be addressing some very serious issues that sadly we cannot safely discuss here on this platform, as we got very disturbing news coming out of Canada and Australia and their future plans implementing something that will have severe side effects for a lot of people. Again, I can't talk about these subjects here, so if you want to hear about the issues that we can't talk about, you have to go to our own platform, LukeUncensored.com. If you haven't signed up yet, what are you waiting for? Click the link down in the description below and be a part of this cult or secret society or whatever you want to call it. We have a lot of fun here, and I hope you could join us later on today when a new video will be dropping. Now, years and years ago, before everyone was enthralled and talking about this sickness, if you remember, on this YouTube channel, we were making a lot of important videos about mental health, and more importantly, the decline of people's mental stability going down rapidly, which have only been exacerbated and made that much worse by overbearing government policies by Dr. Fauci that locked people down, isolated them, and created more of a mental health crisis that already existed beforehand. And now, with the levels of unhappiness, depression, anxiety, self-hurt incidences where people end their own existences on the rise, there is something really there to consider when understanding where society is right now. Now, it would be disingenuous to blame all of this on Dr. Fauci, but I think it is fair to say that his lockdown policies have definitely made the situation worse, not just socially, not just economically, but in many more ways that we can't even quantify anymore. And in spite of scientific data even highlighting that these lockdowns were pointless, we didn't just get bad policies, we also got someone that was routinely changing positions, flip-flopping, altering situations, changing them for his own personal benefit, and now, as we're finding out today, lying through his teeth, as we have exclusive documents released, surprisingly, by The Intercept that show how Dr. Fauci lied through his teeth to Congress, to the American people, specifically to U.S. Senator Rand Paul, about him and the NIAID funding of exactly the same chimeric gain of function research in exactly the same classification category of sickness that is going on right now in the level 3 Wuhan laboratory. Yes, The Intercept got 900 pages of documents detailing the work of Echo Health Alliance at this Chinese laboratory, specifically highlighting how Dr. Fauci was responsible for doing dangerous gain-of-function study, which, by the way, many scientists say is absolutely pointless and incredibly dangerous and irresponsible to do. Since many scientists argue that there is absolutely no benefit to this at all, only clear dangers, as of course this research goes out of its way to make an ongoing sickness as deadly and as transmissible as possible. There's a lot of government whistleblowers saying that a lot of this research is done in the guise of bioweapons, and Dr. Fauci was financing, directing money towards making this exact category of sickness that is going around right now before it came out years ago. Dr. Fauci was specifically from 2014 to 2019 making sure that bat viruses with specific spike proteins were engineered to be as lethal, as dangerous, and as transmissible as possible. Some important context to understand here. This was before the same exact global sickness hit the world from a laboratory that previously even U.S. diplomats warned had very lax and incompetent safety protocols that were absolutely inadequate. This is major bombshell implicating news here, and on the world finally finding out the truth. CNN actually interviewed Dr. Fauci, and you'd think they would ask him about this very specific issue. You would think the bombshell documents that just were released implicating this man as a pathological liar to Congress, to the American people, to U.S. Senator Rand Paul would be finally addressed some way. No. The first question by CNN is how Dr. Fauci feels about the Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and how wrong Ron DeSantis is. Again, you can't script these things. It's absolutely delusional. It's absolutely mind-boggling to see such cover-up levels right in front of your face when we have documents from The Intercept that clearly presented an awe-stunning case of what the hell is going on in this world. And then Dr. Fauci is on CNN lecturing colleges because young people are meeting together and standing next to each other. And of course, Dr. Fauci is playing politics here. If it's a BLM rally, if it's Barack Obama's birthday party, if it's some kind of Democratic or SJW cause, he of course is in support of it. But if it has anything to do with fun or freedom, he of course criticizes it on national television, which is absolutely pompous and ridiculous and two-faced, hypocritical to say the least. U.S. Senator Rand Paul, who quizzed Dr. Fauci on this issue, which Dr. Fauci responded with, as we know of, by lying, tweeted, "Surprise, surprise today, Fauci lied again." And again, this came from The Intercept, not from an impartial viewer, but from a news organization that literally hired what Glenn Greenwald calls a partisan hack, a dishonest partisan hack, Robert Mackey, a guy who blocked me for some reason. Yes, this Robert Mackey, who, as Glenn points out, was pretty much calling Rand Paul a liar and a deranged conspiracy theorist for suggesting that Dr. Fauci was lying from the very beginning about this. Glenn went on to say, quote, "Specifically, the documents The Intercept sought, which I'll bet any amount of money they thought would debunk Paul and vindicate Fauci, instead did the opposite. Oops. The docs more than ever link Daszak research to possible origins of this sickness." He also points out how The Intercept fails to mention that Fauci was the director of NIAID when Daszak was doing the highly risky research at the Wuhan laboratory. Daszak was also, of course, the person that was spearheading the effort, stopping and censoring people from even talking about the lab leak theory, as, of course, many people in alternative media had their platforms taken away from them, destroyed, because they were talking about the circumstantial evidence surrounding this from the very beginning. Again, what happened here is an absolute slap in the face for anyone paying attention. Dr. Fauci should be questioned about this minimally, but now we have confirmation that he lied to Congress, which is a criminal offense. Roger Stone, for the criminal offense of lying to Congress, literally had CNN with the FBI show up at his doorsteps in the early hours of the morning for an FBI search warrant and arrest. Roger Stone was literally sentenced to jail for lying to Congress. Dr. Fauci, if we had a just society, should face those same penalties as anyone else if we lived in a truly just and honest society. And let's be honest here with ourselves, we don't. He's not even going to face any kind of questions, legitimate questions by the mainstream media that cheer him on and treat him like kind of celebritard, when in reality, this man should be in jail. If you agree with me, share this video with your friends and family members. If you disagree with me, let me know why in the comment section below. If you disliked anything about this video, click the dislike button. I always appreciate the constructive criticism, and it's really only you guys sharing these videos that is able to still keep me here. That's why I am still here. I got another video coming your way later on today, Uncensored.com. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. This is why. I love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on wearechange.org.